So before starting this video, I want to start off by saying that by me making this video, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm the best editor ever or even that I'm a super duper good editor. However, I've improved significantly over the past year and I've learned quite a bit about how to improve overall. This video isn't really going to be going over specific techniques or effects that you're going to be using, but it's just going to be an overall guide on how to really improve at editing or really anything else. These tips really could apply to just about anything. I really think people of every skill level, regardless if they're brand new at editing or if they've been editing for years, can take something away from this video. And really anyone at all who is learning a certain trade or skill and really enjoys it but feel like they just aren't quite up to snuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So step one in improving yourself is realizing where your shortcomings are. And this doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. If you're going to take away anything from this video, the one thing that I absolutely want you guys to take away from this video is that being hard on yourself doesn't mean that it's a negative thing, or even that you should belittle yourself or use your own shortcomings as an excuse to feel bad. I don't really know how to say this in the best way, but you should really look at your own shortcomings as an opportunity for improvement rather than just a way of being unnecessarily mean on yourself because you aren't necessarily where you want to be. Nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. So is pretty much everyone that watches this video. So is pretty much everyone in the world. Human beings are flawed creatures, but the nice part about human beings is that human beings improve through practice. There's a reason that even the best of professional athletes constantly practice. Why some of the smartest people ever constantly study and constantly research. If these people who are supposedly the best at what they did were perfect, then they wouldn't need to practice because they'd be right where they want to be. But it's because they realize the importance of practice and their own shortcomings that they, well, practice. And it's a big reason why they are where they are. So really apply that to your own editing. Really practice as much as you can and really be hard on yourself. But don't be hard on yourself in a way that's negative. Kind of be like, okay, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, and really focus in on where your weak points are and try to negate those weak points as much as you can through trying new things and experimenting. There's actually a really good tweet that one of my good friends, Author, tweeted earlier today at the time of this recording, and he said, you want to feel comfortable or you want to improve because you can't do both. And I actually really agree with that. Improvement comes down to wanting to do better and wanting to really push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And really that starts with changing how you view your own shortcomings, and that's not viewing them in a negative light, viewing them in a positive light, viewing it in a, okay, this is where I messed up, here's what I need to really sit down and think about what I'm gonna do to improve. And really that's step one, and it's probably the most important step, and really the one big thing that I want you to take away from this video. If you forget the other steps, you shouldn't, but if you're going to remember one thing, remember this. To actually get to a point where you want to improve, you can't really look at your own shortcomings as being a super negative thing. Rather than saying, oh, I'm so bad and I'm just trash and I should just quit, you need to really flip that switch in your head and look at it as, I've got so much room to improve, and that's a good thing and that should be welcomed. And it's only really when you make that sort of switch in mindset that you can really go forward with the rest of this video and move on to the other steps, which are step two in improving yourself is learning how to learn from others, whether that's watching a bunch of really good edits or taking advice from your better editing friends. Right now, the editing community is pretty small, but because of that, it's actually extremely approachable. So if you can, just DM someone or literally at an editor you like and ask if they can give you ops, and chances are they'll give you ops. They may not be super nice ops, but if you refer back to step one, you shouldn't view that as a horrible thing. I distinctly remember 3 years ago when I first joined Ava Media, and I don't have the DM because I got suspended, but Delays, who was the leader of Ava Media, DM'd me like 6 paragraphs of things that I could do to improve on my editing. And I had been religiously following that for like the past 3 years up until my Twitter got suspended. It's super important that you take away the things that people that are more experienced experienced than you have to say, because there's a reason they're better than you, and if they are better than you, you should probably listen to what they have to say, because they might just, help you get better. Telling someone to f off or that you just suck isn't honest to goodness advice on what you need to improve, but honest to goodness harsh criticism really can make the absolute difference between, someone who's good at editing and someone who isn't. Also, if you can, try to watch edits from people that are super good, but that doesn't mean cloning people. And if people have presets, don't use the presets, or at least don't use them as they are. If you are gonna get presets, I've gotten presets before, try to make them your own. Try to see what works in them and try to put your own little spin on it, because being original will help you stand out as an editor overall. It's super easy to just be okay and to be super generic, but if you really want to stand out and you really want to improve as an editor, having your own style and your own sort of take on how you edit will make all the difference if you really want to get good and make it in this industry. That is, of course, if you decide to go down the path of being a professional, or if you just end up doing this for fun. Finally, the third and the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is to learn and understand your software. Contrary to popular belief, learning how to edit doesn't just mean binge watching a bunch of tutorials. It's actually taking the time to comprehensively learn your software and learn how everything works. And more importantly, when you learn it, you should understand how things work. You should understand how good velo is made. You should understand how effects flow into each other. You should understand things you want to do, so that way if you're trying to figure out how to do something cool that you want to do, you can just be like, it looks like you just did this, this, and this, and you'll just get it. Because here's the thing, learning isn't like studying a textbook and taking a quiz. I know school really portrays learning and that sort of thing, but really when you learn, you should be trying your hardest to truly comprehend something. I've been using Vegas for a really, really long time. I started using Sony Vegas 8 years ago. Let's put it this way. I was in middle school when I first started using Vegas, and now I'm like a junior in college. So that is a long time, and I know things about Vegas that most people don't know. I know scripting. I know how the encoding works. Really nerdy shit like that. And it's super important that you should try to learn as much about whatever you're editing in. It doesn't have to be Vegas. It could be After Effects, or even DaVinci Resolve actually looks incredibly underrated. Things like that. You should be trying to aim for overall comprehension of a software. So really, if you can, try to learn things outside of video game editing. Just learn about editing in general. Learn about tools and plugins you have. Take a course if you want about just overall software comprehension on Skillshare or something. Or even if you're in college like I am, take a class on it. I'm going to film school literally right now, and I didn't think I'd take anything out of film school, but I've actually learned so much about editing. Television editing and film editing is so much different, and even though it isn't technically difficult, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies and rules that go into editing television that I didn't really realize, and I came away from that experience just an overall better editor. And that's another thing. If you want to make it in the industry, I know I was talking about improvement, but I'm just going to talk about overall editing. If you want to make it as an editor, you have to be diverse. You have to be extremely diverse. I've edited pretty much goddamn near everything now, whether that's commercial, sports reels, television shows, a bridge series. I've done everything, and content editing too, which is what I've been able to make somewhat of a living off of. And that's just because I was able to learn Vegas, and I'm able to understand in a way that I could pretty much do anything. And that's really what led to me improving, is an overall comprehension of the software that I use. Being that guy that only follows tutorials will only get you so far. And the bad thing about being that guy that only follows tutorials is that everyone else can always watch those tutorials too, and you'll just end up being like everyone else. I don't know how many of you guys want to go into editing seriously, but no one is going to hire tutorial editors or generic editors. You want to have a diverse skill set, and you want to have a unique skill set, And most importantly, you want to be good and unique at what you do. You want to provide something that no one else will, because if you can't provide that thing, someone else will, and then you're out of a job and you can't join whatever team you want or whatever, whatever bullshit you want to do. But that's about it. That's really all I gotta say. I'm extremely freaking tired right now, and I'm probably gonna go pass out, but I hope you guys walked away from this video learning a thing or two on how to improve. And just before I end this video, I feel like I need to say again that I'm not necessarily trying to say that I'm somehow the end-all and be-all on superior video editing. There are a ton of kids out there who are so much better than me. I'm just kind of throwing out the guidelines I followed to get better, and hopefully you guys can take away something good from this video. That's all I really want, and I know I get questions all the time about what can I do to get better. Do you have any preset packs that I can buy? Don't judge me, I was down bad. But yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys later.